Hello, the PSN community, and welcome to Feature Friday. Today, I'm joined by Chris Halley from Property Tax 360. Welcome, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Lassie. Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
Amazing. So, Chris, would you like to tell our community what is it that you do?
We are a small property tax boutique. We serve the interests of landlords, in particular those suffering from that festering sore known as Section 24. We've been at this for many a long year, and we are conscious of the significant challenges facing landlords right now that show no sign of abatement. So we're very keen to support these people as best we can.
Amazing. Yeah, it is very tough at the moment as well. But how did you get into this?
Well, I've been in the tax world since, I'm going to have to say it, the late 1970s. Yes, I'm that old. And spent a lot of my career advising business owners on how to keep more of what their business actually makes. But doing it obviously using the law and the spirit of the law. But it was probably by about 2017, and I think we all know that date in the calendar, when Mr. Osborne's Section 24 plans came into being, and we could see that this was going to cause landlords a lot of problems. And still today, 80% of landlords still own property in their own names. So we decided to, instead of being generalist in terms of business tax, that we would focus on a specific area, and we chose property, and we believe it was the right decision to make. So for the past 6 years, it's just been about landlords, the private rental sector, but also those who are in service accommodation, holiday lets, commercial, and a combination of all of those things. And it's very rewarding because oftentimes when we talk to landlords, they are amazed that what we talk about is possible. They query why they haven't heard about it from somebody else. And again, that's a challenge that has to be overcome. But the rewards are significant without complexity, without taking any risk really, and which can survive the landlord's lifetime and for the generation to come. So it's really rewarding work.
So you've mentioned that it's really rewarding work then. So what would you say your biggest win has been so far?
We met somebody who had been through the advisory process with one of our competitors, a very large and I would imagine successful firm, who had recommended a specific strategy at eye-watering cost, I have to say. But this was going to involve a lot of complexity, a lot of relying on certain reliefs enshrined legislation where there's no longer possible to get what we refer to as non-statutory clearance. In other words, you can't get the revenues approval at the start, and you have been able to now for quite some time. And this married couple had about 60 properties, all in the buy-to-let. He owned some, she owned some, they all owned quite a few jointly. They were very, very firmly in the higher rate tax bracket. Section 24 was a bit of an issue, as you can imagine. So we got all the information that we need. We got the portfolio details, we got their SA 302s for the previous financial year. And we did some modeling, and we worked out that by structuring the portfolio in the best possible way would bring them both back into basic rate, which of course renders Section 24 largely irrelevant. We increased their disposable income by over 100%, and we ensured that their legacy was secured in full in 2 years' time, regardless of how big the portfolio was going to become. And for 25% of the fee that had been quoted by another firm. And that couple had been our best sort of advertising and marketing team. We didn't ask them to tell all their friends and neighbors and what have you, but they've certainly done that. So when you're able to do something like that, it's hugely rewarding, and it's proven to be very commercially rewarding as well.
Well, amazing. That's certainly a big win. And what would you say your biggest learning has been so far as well?
I think understanding that landlords are not like, say, the corporate clients that I was used to back in the earlier days. It's recognizing that landlords have got a whole mess of issues to deal with. When we have meetings, by the time the meeting's over, using this sort of Zoom facility, there could be any number of tenants being on the phone complaining about problems with the taps not working, or the electric gone off, or there's a wall that's got a crack in it. The mortgage lender's just written to say that mortgage rates are going up again. There's more legislation coming along, which is going to give you more protection to renters. And just day-to-day life gets in the way, and it's been a real steep learning curve, knowing that just because someone might take a few weeks to get back to you doesn't mean to say that they're not interested. It's just they've got all this crap to deal with. And I think that's been probably the thing that took the longest to understand, but we now get it, and we now, of course, understand, which I think makes us better.
Oh, very good answer there. And if you could go back to being 16, what would you tell yourself?
Wow. Well, I took many years to get to being involved in this kind of work. And I started off, would you believe, working for a bank, mainly because that was my first job interview from school, and the bank said, yeah, we'll give you a job. It was much easier getting jobs in those days. So I joined work in the bank. And what I was doing then, compared to what I've been doing these last 5 or 6 years, is just poles and poles apart. So I think what I would say to myself, indeed I've said to my children when they were that age, don't feel as if you have to make fundamental decisions at 16 or 18 or 21 or 25, because this is a journey. And especially now, and the younger generation have got far more pressures and tensions than certainly my generation had. And it sounds a bit of a cliche, but go with the flow, do what you enjoy, and don't worry too much about the longer term. That sounds crazy from a planner, but actually things tend to work themselves out. So don't take it too seriously. We're not young long enough. And, advancing middle age suddenly appears out of nowhere. And then you're just thinking about, old age and what that brings. So at 16, enjoy the fact that you're 16 and 18 and 21 and throughout your 20s and 30s, and just don't take it too seriously.
No, I think that's absolutely great advice as well. I feel like when you are in school, for example, and you are in your early ages, you get a lot of pressure to decide what you need to do for the rest of your life. And that's quite unhealthy as well. So to hear something like that from somebody who's really experienced and has been through life and everything, I think that's great advice. Thank you very much. So
it's part of the educational problem that there's not enough vocational. It's about passing exams. It's about teachers getting a certain number of passes for their CV, getting into university, even if you've got no specific interest. It just wastes another 3 or 4 years, and that's we could talk about that for hours. So
we could talk about that for hours, but I agree. It's such a tick box exercise at the end of the day. And as you can see, a lot of people do go to university, but I think over 50% of people going to university don't go and do whatever their degree was at that time as well. So that just screams everything. So we're going to do a little bit of a game now. It's called This and That, because what we want to do is we want to get to know our community members a little bit better. So I'm going to give you 2 options. So option 1 might be apple, option 2 might be bananas, and you just have to pick which one you prefer. And it's going to be a series of quick fire questions. Okay. So number 1 question, McDonald's or KFC?
McDonald's.
Ketchup or mayonnaise?
Oh, mayonnaise.
Good choice. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Chinese or Indian?
Chinese.
And finally, would you rather be the smartest person in the world or the richest person in the world?
I'm going to say the smartest person in the world, because if I was the smartest person in the world, I'd probably be one of the richest as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wise answer. I agree with that as well. I'd probably be the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
And then plus, if you were the richest person in the world, there's a lot of pressure on you. You're always in the spotlight as well. You could be the smartest person in the world and make a bit of money, but not be in the spotlight.
Yeah, you could be the
So,
smartest and nobody might know about it. Whereas you're
yeah,
if you're the richest, like Elon Musk, you're under pressure all the time on.
exactly. So I think we both agree on that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for being part of our Feature Friday today. And guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Feature Friday. Until next time, keep being amazing, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, and bye. See ya.